And we're live. Welcome to Uncoachable, a podcast for parents and coaches by parents and coaches. I am Coach Patrick. Across from me is Coach Lance. Coach, how you doing today?
Doing great. Yourself?
I mean, I'm excited about cauliflower deals, and so I'm not great, but
Turn a corner there, bro.
yeah, I'm 31 and I'm an old man. 31 going on 56.
Yes, cauliflower for 98 cents.
Well, now that I'm on keto, cauliflower just replaces everything that I used to eat.
Yes.
Everything that I used to eat is replaced by a cauliflower substitute, and it's not bad.
No, it is bad.
Well, actually, I prefer like loaded cauliflower to mashed potatoes, where it's like if I was doing cauliflower with like butter and sour cream and cheese to mashed potatoes with butter, sour cream, and cheese, I prefer the cauliflower.
Have you ever had mashed cauliflower?
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's delicious.
Really?
It's awesome.
I don't like the mashed cauliflower. I bought one of the ones like by Green Giant or something like that in the frozen food section.
Don't buy fresh cauliflower and boil it. It's 98 cents.
And welcome to Healthy Cooking Hour,
Gosh.
your local baseball enthusiast.
What do you? I don't even know what. First of all, don't look at me like that. Secondly, what is your?
I don't like cauliflower. That's my problem. I don't like cauliflower.
It doesn't taste like anything.
I don't like cauliflower. That's my problem.
Get out of my America.
I don't like things that don't have any taste. But it's good. But is it good for me? Whatever.
It doesn't sour cream have a lot of carbs in it?
Sour cream is dairy.
So?
It doesn't have any carbs. I mean, it has a few, but like
Milk has carbs.
Yeah, milk is not good for you on the keto diet, but
Milk's dairy.
yeah. So are eggs. Eggs are really good for you.
Yeah. I'm saying because you said no, it's dairy. That doesn't mean anything because
Sour cream is not.
Yogurt's not that good for you.
No. Well, sour cream doesn't have any added sugar. A lot of pasteurized
yogurt's
milk.
not good for you?
Yogurt's
as far as a low carb diet.
as far as low carb.
Oh,
or
I was
keto.
going to say they've lied to me all these years.
Yogurt's a good probiotic, but
if you're feeling bad,
yeah.
eat some yogurt, drink some kombucha. It'll clear that tummy right up.
Oh yeah, dude. I got the troublemaker, mind you.
Did you after the kombucha?
Tuesday. Nope.
Oh.
Yeah, it was Tuesday.
Oh.
Nothing happened on Monday. Nothing. Not even think. Tuesday, not a lot. Wednesday, not a lot. Thursday.
What was going on?
I don't know, man.
Just painted the bowl and flushed it away.
Yeah. Yep. I don't know what's going on. It was weird. Felt bloated the whole damn time too.
Boilermaker?
Because you were plugged up. I get most of it, but I didn't get the troublemaker. Hey, Coach Logan. Coach, how are you doing today?
Speaking of troublemakers, how'd you get that?
Speaking of turds.
That's how I feel like.
You should.
Yeah. After eating all that pizza.
That's what I ate like. I mean, if you like what you eat.
Yeah. It's true, too, man. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
So true.
I don't make a turd.
You know, and when I did keto, I was able to get on it and stay on it for a week. But the one time that I stopped, the food that I ate almost didn't let me get back to eating healthy again. You know what I mean? You know what I mean with that? Like, it almost forced me to eat more of what I just had.
Mm-hmm.
More of the sugars and more of that crap. Oh,
Yeah. That's why you don't eat crap. I haven't allowed myself. People are like, oh, I'll do a cheat day on Saturday, and then I'll be back in ketosis by Tuesday. Well, if I do that, I'm not going to be back in ketosis till February.
right.
So I just don't allow
At
it.
the earliest.
Yeah. I just do not allow myself to do that at all because
Well, and the good
once
thing,
I open the door, I can't get the door shut again.
that's the thing. It just all of a sudden becomes a flood, and that's the thing. But if you like the food that you're eating,
Yeah.
then that's something completely, wholly completely different.
Yeah. That's why I like this. I had, I could deal without the avocados, but
Well, let me just tell you.
You don't like avocados?
not really.
Really?
When you get invited to Katosi, Massachusetts, you don't get invited back after you leave. It's just what I know. Katosi, Massachusetts. That's where he's at right now.
I've heard of Potosi, Wisconsin.
So have I.
Oh, I should have used that. That would have been. I could have. I was fully prepared to say Missouri, but then
Massachusetts came out.
You'll have that.
Yeah, although it does sound like maybe a place that could be there, so I couldn't put it. I didn't really put it past him. I was like, okay, where's he going with this? What?
Yeah.
Nope.
It's north of Boston.
Yeah.
Very good. I tried, but it wasn't good.
Oh, it wasn't horrible.
I'm not a co-op.
It's better than what I could do, so therefore it was good.
So,
Because you got Southie, but then
yeah.
they don't call it Northie though.
No,
it's not
that's
Northie.
weird. That'd be weird.
It's just North Boston.
Yeah. And we got Joe Boo. Let's not forget about Joe Boo before we Joe Boo's over here.
He's never been to Potosi. He's been to
Someone-
Kentucky though.
Someone took his cigar.
Uh-oh. Yeah, they did.
Frantically grabbing for dollars.
It's stolen.
Huh.
Wonder who that could have been.
V-Bucks. Had to get that skin. Too bad he needs like 15 more to get a skin.
I think it's one of three.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Check your bucket.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, well,
No. All right. It's a dollar bill, folks. We're not
Yeah.
too concerned about it,
not
but
a big deal.
when that cigar's in his mouth, the world's right.
It is true. Sorry about that. That was well, I saw Joe Boo kind of looking at me. I was like, "Sorry, man, what's going on?" And then I noticed it. So
He's like,
He's
Kentucky Fried Massacre.
yeah, that's what he is. Oh man.
I ain't had no, we're going to call it nicotine in a long time. So, basically, I wanted to, I wanted to
Continue, Coach.
to hop right back into
What we were talking about last week.
what we kind of ended up talking about last week, and that was we talked about that specific play, and we're not going to get
Which
into
one?
that.
Which one?
The-
I mean, let's
yeah,
just
I'm gonna
dive
get
back
into
into
it.
it just in case we miss it.
We're not going to get too far into the weeds on it, but where it's runner at second. You just got to get your head out of the gutter.
That was him, not me.
It's just perfect.
Why don't you go
timing.
somewhere and pull a fire alarm?
For those of you that don't know, Coach Logan was the one that pulled his fire alarms when he was in high school.
Crap! Oh man, I hope Father Mirabelli never listens to this.
I hope he does.
Now you've just outed yourself. It could have been any Logan.
That's on you, bro.
I will put that poor man in the grave.
The great mystery has been solved. Huh?
It just and so we got a runner at second. Ball's hit to left field. Down for a base hit. And we just talked about
We got no runner at first.
no runner at first.
Okay.
We just talked about all the moving pieces and where everybody's going. You know, third baseman doesn't cover third. He goes and takes the cut four spot. We don't have the players in position to cover the bases at that point, because our main objective at that point is to not allow that run to score and not allow that runner to get to second. But that throw's not going to second necessarily. The throw should come into the third baseman. Okay, so I was thinking about it, and I kind of was
Because the third baseman's a cutoff.
right.
Yep.
I was kind of in the middle thinking, maybe third baseman could go to the pitcher could go to third base, or he could go home depending on the play. The more I thought about it, the more I realized I was wrong.
Pitcher has to go home.
Pitcher's got to go behind home plate as the backup, as the fail-safe backup. Okay.
Just in case
Yeah.
there's an errant throw or the ball gets by.
And the whole reason for that is we have to understand the questions that we're asking. We got to understand the right questions to ask and the right responses to those questions.
Much
Okay.
better.
All is right in the world now.
So, my biggest question at that point is, what are we trying to do at that play? Once that runner gets to first base, we're not still trying to get him out at first base, right? So the first baseman standing there like an oaf on first base waiting for the quote-unquote back pick opportunity is just dumb. Okay?
Right.
Not to mention, he's not the lead runner.
You're conceding that. You're conceding you're conceding the guy at first base. You're conceding that he's there no matter what.
Right. And what happens if the throw comes into the third baseman at the cut four spot, the runner stays at third, the batter turns into the runner at first base, takes a wide turnaround first, third baseman catches it, throws to first to back pick him off with a first baseman standing there. What's the runner going to do? He's going to go to second. Mm-hmm. Then he's in a pickle. What's going to happen?
Runner's
Runs
going
gonna
to
score.
score from third.
And you potentially could still get the runner
Right.
to second base.
Right. So that and
Well, you end up because you'll try to get the out. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're smart, you get one.
You go home.
Well,
Yeah, that's what I was.
if you can,
Right.
Again, if you can. But if you're smart, you get one out some way or another.
yeah, but in that situation, you're not still trying to get that right. You're not trying to. Here's the thing: if you're relying on those cheap outs, I'll call them, you're
Base running mistakes.
You're probably not a very good baseball team.
Base running
If you
mistakes.
have to rely on that stuff and do things wrong to get outs in the wrong way, I mean, our goal here is to not let that run score, because that's how we win games, is by not letting them score runs.
Right.
You know, I'm even okay conceding that the runner going to second without trying to get that out,
Just to keep the runner at third.
especially at the younger ages, because I've seen that ball go into center field before.
More than once.
Yeah. And at the younger ages, the chances of good throws in that spot, especially if we get into a pickle situation between second and first, and then the runner tries to score, how many times have you seen the ball just tip off somebody's glove and then he's two bases already? You know?
He's not only now he's on second, but he's
Yeah.
on third.
Right.
And you just let it run in.
Yeah. So it's just,
Same thing, almost the same thing as when you have a runner on first and third, and the runner on first steals second. You don't want
Yeah.
that throw to go down there unless you fully trust that you're going to be able to get that out, or at least,
and these gimmicky plays.
I'm not getting. Let's not get into those.
Okay.
Okay, we're talking about
Right.
asking the right questions.
Asking the right questions.
with that.
Right.
I mean, keeping that play in mind.
Right.
So, what would be the right?
What are we trying to accomplish on any play, not just that play, but that was the impetus for this conversation, was thinking about that, listening to that back, thinking, okay, we need to clean this up a little bit. What are we trying to do in this particular situation? What are we trying to do in any particular situation? We're trying to keep the runner as far away from home plate as we possibly can, correct?
Correct. The further away, the less likely they are to score.
Right. Pure and simple. Mm-hmm. So that was just what I wanted to get into. Just making sure we're asking the right questions when we're in a different situation. We're asking the right questions. You know. Do you guys have any? You guys are not adding anything to this. I'm just feel like I'm talking in circles.
No, I mean, there's not a whole lot to add to it. I mean, as you said, it's all based on situations. Again, we were primarily talking about that play.
Right. And you guys didn't see that play. I saw that play. So
Right.
I'm trying to explain it to you guys, and you guys are kind of just. And this is not chalk talk, so it's not really something that we're trying to get into. Is talking about positioning and where people go on a specific play, and then you got to storyboard it in your own head. And that's not really what we're doing here.
And we don't want to,
Right.
because on any given play, there's 4 or 5 different options that a player can choose to go to.
Right. And again, we talk about, just because a decision that we make doesn't work out doesn't mean it's the wrong decision.
Right.
As long as a player does something, I can live with it being the wrong thing as long as it's something, and he's trying to make a play and make it be active.
Well, it comes down to effort.
Comes down to effort, exactly. And we have a kid on our team now, and it's our first year with him, and he's an excellent kid. Not blessed with the most baseball skill, but he tries more than anybody I've seen.
Yeah.
And that is all I've ever been able to ask from him is to try, and he's getting there. He's made so many strides just from when he joined our team. He's made leaps and bounds. You know, I had him in the pitching cage yesterday, and we were working on his arm slot because he's got that. Nobody ever taught me how to throw a baseball arm slot where the elbow everything's just the elbow comes forward first, and you just fling in the baseball.
You guys know what that looks like? Like I always call that like the wet noodle, where it's just like a floppy. It looks like a floppy. You're just flicking your arm back and forth.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't stand it.
It's terrible.
Oh man.
The Todd Van Poppel right there. It's just it's awful to look at. But we're working on making sure the ball is above your elbow and your elbow's above your shoulder, making sure, you know,
Ball's facing your
back, you know, and he's doing a lot better, and he's throwing the ball a lot harder. Mm-hmm. You know, and he's making strides everywhere.
Well, it's making him use his legs a little bit more too.
Yeah, that too.
So, I mean, yeah, and you know that's the biggest thing he said. He's willing to put in his, you know, the effort when he's there.
Well,
and like you said, that's all you can ask for. If you as a player, when you're on the field and you move to a spot where you think you need to go to, whether it's and I do somewhat want to disagree with you in saying that there are right spots and wrong spots to move to. Don't just move to move, if you will.
Right, but if I'm seeing that you're giving effort and you just do it wrong, I can live with that.
Right. You know, we always preach hard about glove side, turning glove side, turning glove side, turning glove side. You know, but if you don't, we're not gonna like.
Yeah.
It happens during practice. We're gonna get on you about it because that's what we're working on specifically. But in a game, it's not going to be something that we put our focus on because guess what? You are then most likely in the right spot, if you will, the correct spot.
I'm really glad that you said that because that's something that I didn't really think about talking about. But coaches, this is just a nice segue for this. Coaches, Coach Lance said it perfectly. When we're in practice, we're going to get on you a little bit. When we're in the game, I'm not going to get on you for that. Okay, that's when we talk. That's when the spoonful of sugar has to come out is during the game. Mm-hmm. Okay, in practice we can drill and drill and drill. So when we get into a game, it's natural.
Yeah.
Okay, it just feels more natural to do it the right way. That's why we harp on it and harp on it and harp on it. When we get into a game, that's when the voice needs to come down, and we need to say, "Hey, good job. Make sure, remember, we're turning glove side."
Mm-hmm. Hey, way to get that throw out. Way to get the throw out. Way to get the runner out. Here's something. Make it quicker. Make it easier on you. Glove side turn. If you could turn glove side, that throw is not as hard.
Yeah.
You're not having to find your target and then whip it there. You have probably 3 or 4 extra steps, if you will, on the runner that you can get the runner out on.
And just simple. Hey, remember, turn glove side.
Turn glove side.
And if it's not turn glove side. Come on. It's, hey, remember, turn glove side.
Although, like you said, on the flip side, it is that way in practice.
Yeah.
You know, one time, 2 times, 3 times, I may not yell at you, but eventually.
The more I have to say it, when we do the 4 corners drill, that's when we really work on it, on the glove side turn. And if I have to tell you, if I have to keep saying it,
to the same
my voice is going to get louder.
Yeah.
My voice is going to get louder because even if it's not the same person, if I'm saying it, you guys should all be hearing me. So my voice is going to start getting louder, and then it's going to be, oh, coach is yelling at me. Coach is not yelling at you. Start doing it the right way because my voice won't get to 10 if the number of times you don't turn glove side doesn't get to 10. Okay, so
now once it gets to 10, then we're stopping and we're just like, okay, let's move on.
But
that's another thing. You know, now that just because we're going off the cuff here, coaches, if you are getting too frustrated at a specific drill, move on because you're not going to get anything from it, and they're not going to get anything from it because they're gonna tune you out because you're yelling.
Well, you know what? And here's another good point with that. getting frustrated with their effort level is different than getting frustrated with them not doing the drill properly. If we're getting to a point where we're getting frustrated because they're not doing the drill properly, we're probably moving too fast.
Either too fast or too slow.
Right. No, I'm talking about as far as their knowledge base goes. If they're not getting it, chances are they're not, the steps, the building blocks to get there are not in place yet. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah. So you wouldn't be moving, yeah.
We'd be moving too fast to get to what we're working on.
Like turning glove side. Guess what? If your player doesn't know what glove side is, then
how's he gonna know?
How's he gonna know what way to turn?
Yeah. And I've said that 100 times. Parents will come up and say something to me before. It's like, oh, that was really good. And I can't expect them to know something if I've not taught it to them yet.
Right. Absolutely.
I think that's a mistake some of us make, is under thinking that they know stuff that they don't, and
then being shocked when they don't.
Yeah, we had a new kid join our team just the other day, and I wasn't there at the first practice he was at, and I asked the head coach. I said, "How is he pitching wise?" And he said, "Well, he throws a lot of strikes, but doesn't throw very hard." And I said, "Okay." Well, when I got him on the inside mound, I didn't start teaching him. I said, "Hey, throw me a couple of pitches, because I have to get a baseline for what he's doing. I got to get a baseline for what he knows, and then I can talk to him. Okay, this is what he's doing. I can tell if he's been coached or not. With everything, I can tell if you've been coached. I can tell if you haven't been coached.
And you can tell if you've been coached. I don't want to say use the word wrong.
Having a coach and being coached are different.
Right.
So, and that's the thing. We got to understand where they're at in order to teach them where they need to be. Okay, so I had to understand where he was pitching wise, what he knew, where he was at, in order to get out of him what I needed to. That's another important thing to understand.
For sure.
So, but we talked about effort just a little bit there, and that's another thing we're going to get into today. Is it really bothers me that we have to talk about it.
I think it's natural.
It's human nature. It's
everybody's,
human nature.
This week I've been talking with my coworkers, and there's one person on our team, if you will, our work team, that is constantly letting everybody down. It seems like not letting everybody down, just everybody's annoyed by the things that they're doing. Constantly complaining about something, always on their phone, whether it's texting or taking phone calls. Now, keep in mind, I work in a manufacturing environment. You should never be on your phone while you're on the floor. Don't get me wrong, it's very laid back. For myself, being the production manager, I can be on my phone because I'm a little bit more aware, if you will, of what's going on. But when you're supposed to be doing specific things, anyway, effort is what I'm getting to. And that's all, like, essentially what every single person that I talked to today, or talked to this week, brought up in that regard. And this was about this specific employee, is they're here busting their butts trying to get things done and, moving along, while they turn around and they see this person on their phone.
Not creating output.
Right. I mean, just working hard to make it look like they're working hard. And
because it takes a lot of work to keep them doing any work.
It does. And they were overly frustrated with it, and to the point where they came up to me today and said, this person has not worked for a total of 5 hours today.
Oh, wow.
So it's one of those things, but I can't say much to them, because on the flip side, everybody's on their phone. So it's either no phones or what can I do? Anyway, effort is what I'm talking about. Is they're not holding up their end of the deal. They're not
Right.
doing their job, and that's where I think where it's natural, even as adults. That's what I was getting at. Even as adults, it's natural to push the boundaries. As kids, children are mentally, almost mentally
Yeah.
tuned in to tiptoe every single line that you create for them.
Yeah. What was really funny the other day, I forgot that it happened, but I listened back to the podcast for a couple weeks ago, and Kellen was sitting down here on the chair, on the couch down here, and he remarked to his buddy that he was sitting there with, yeah, I'm the second fastest on the team. Oh, well, if you're the second fastest on the team, why are you last in sprints? It comes down to effort.
Yeah.
You know, if you're gonna boast about how fast you are, or, I mean, and I mean, the fastest turtle is still a turtle, but you know,
Ouch.
but you know, if you're gonna be the second fastest on the team, you better be the second fastest on the team, or don't tell anybody.
Yeah. Because if they see you not the second fastest, guess what you're gonna get?
Well,
Yeah,
you know, like Dylan, my son has a major effort issues. But what's frustrating about it is when it's game time, when it's like serious business, he'll show you all the effort that you've never seen out of him. But in practice, I mean, I could not coax that out of him in a practice if I tried.
We're talking about practice.
not the game, not the game that I love, not the game that I die for. We're talking about practice. How silly is that? We're talking about practice.
Do you know what that's from?
Yeah, it's Iverson.
Okay, good. I'm glad you picked up on that because you know more of it than I do.
How silly is that? It's practice, man.
Practice.
But
Anyway, but you're right. I mean,
you know,
But you know, if that's your attitude about practice, then you're gonna have to do Jim Mora too. Playoffs. Playoffs.
that's the other one I was trying
About
to say.
playoffs. Playoffs.
I was actually trying to think of that other one. There it is.
they are who they thought they were.
That is
R.I.P. R.I.P. Denny Green.
Yep,
Yeah,
Green.
Danny Green. There you go. Cardinals,
Cardinals.
coach. Yeah,
Ooh.
facing the Bears.
Anyway, sorry. Look what I.
Sidebar.
Yeah. You were saying about Dylan and
Yeah.
practice. I mean, that's a hard thing. Is when you have a kid that's.
Coach's kid.
It is.
That's what sucks about it. Though. Like if this isn't any other kid, I'd probably live with that a little bit. I wouldn't be happy about it, but I would.
But-
It would be an easier pill to swallow than this pill
Yeah.
that I get forced to swallow.
Fair enough.
It's just frustrating. 'Cause it's like, dude, I know you can do it. I've seen you give me laser focus, but it's only when.
Have you laid out those expectations for him?
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah. We have
very
talks.
steadfast.
Yeah, I've explained to him, and
Not in a dick way, just matter of
it's just-
fact.
it's not that he's like not a leader.
I'm not talking about leader because some kids aren't leaders, some people aren't
No.
leaders. It's just what I'm talking about is effort. If that effort's not like okay, so the reason I ask is because when I first started coaching travel ball, and I took Kellen to the side and I explained it to him, saying, "All right, Kellen, you are my son. I am the head coach. You know a lot of these things that we're coaching, okay? And you can do some of these things, and you're going to get extra coaching and more coaching from me just because you live with me, matter-of-factly, from Coach Patrick as well. You don't live with him, but you get my point.
Well, he's got it even worse because he's basically got two parents.
He basically does, right. And so, you know, I laid it out for him. I said, so essentially what I'm getting at is I expect you to do these things, and I expect you to do them to the best of your ability every time. And if I don't see you doing that, if I see your effort slacking, if I see your attitude bad, if I see these things, not only am I going to be upset at you and disappointed in you, that is then a direct correlation, a direct reflection. Thank you. A direct reflection on me as a coach. And then you don't want to know what we're going to talk about on the drive home. And I've actually threatened Kellen, and not threatened, but in a way seriously said, if I have to deal with this too much, I won't be coaching anymore, because it's not worth my stress level to have to see my son face to face with me not doing the things that he's supposed to be doing. And I've never had that issue with Kellen because, again, Kellen is the effort kid. Kellen is the even practice. I'm going to treat practice just like a game. But he's been bred that, I don't want to say bred that way. That's awful. But he's been groomed to make sure that that's what he's putting in. So that's why I was asking those questions. Has it been laid out that matter-of-factly, that straightforward?
Yeah.
Even with coaching last year, and I don't want to say it was him. I don't want to blame it on other things. There was a much higher stress level for me. But there were even times that I looked at Kellen and I said, I'm done coaching you. I said, if you're not going to listen to me and I'm going to get attitude anytime I do it, I'm done coaching you. And after this year, I won't be your head coach or your manager or whatever it is.
I think that...
And I even said it to you, Coach Patrick. I've even said, I can't do it anymore. Because it was actually driving a wedge in our relationship as father-son.
Yeah.
I think that being a father and a coach, that's like one of the most underrated things in all of life. I don't think the general person grasps that concept of how difficult that really is.
Right,
like,
and there's two different things that people
being
see.
one or the other is difficult enough.
Right.
But combining the two of them, it adds like it's like 1 + 1 does not equal 2. It equals like 5.
It's a completely different dimension is what it is.
Yeah.
And
it's this
where you take a step back and you think of it from another parent's point of view. Or if you can think back, like, I don't coach hockey. If I would see hockey, like, there are things that if I see my son doing, I want to jump on his case, but I'm not the coach. So I have to take a step back. But what I'm getting at is it is a bigger dimension than just the coach and parent, if you will. What it dives into is if you have one coach or if you have a kid and a coach, a father and a son who's playing, and the father doesn't hold that player accountable for his actions, that's one side. And then you have the other side where the father is too hard on the kid. And there's not much in between.
Right.
And I'll be the first one to tell you that, and you heard from the conversation that I had said to Kellen, I'm extremely hard on him. Mm-hmm. I'm not asking for perfection. There are times that it comes across that way. There are times that it is that way. I am strictly asking for effort. Strictly asking for that. That's what I want. If I'm not getting that, I don't want the attitude. That's the second biggest thing. Yeah. Effort and no attitude. Those are the things. Those are the two things you can control.
The one thing that will make me run into traffic is when I say, you're doing this, we need to do this. And you say, no, I'm not. Well, fuck what I'm here for.
Yep.
All right. All right. Well, you have it all figured out.
You have it all. I'm going to go. Yeah.
You have it all figured out.
And that's the hardest thing to do because you don't want to be. I'll use Kellen as an example for certain drills that we're doing because he's seen the drill. He's been coached the drill already just because I want to make sure that I'm teaching it correctly. I do those things outside of practice. That way when I go into practice, I can teach a kid properly what the kind of the steps that they need to do.
Well, geez, when we're going to introduce a new drill, we go and do it ourselves first.
We do. There are times that we'll be hitting it at 10 o'clock at night because we're like, let's check this out.
We're going to check this T drill, but I got to make sure I know how to teach it. I got to make sure I know what I'm doing before I start teaching something that I saw. There's a drill that I saw online that I really liked, but I've not done it. So we need to. We need to get on the T's and figure it out.
And figure out how we're gonna show it. And
that's guys are really. That's something important for a lot of coaches that might be listening. Don't even, especially if you're not sure what you see. A lot of people just see something on the internet and then they immediately want to go try it. Mm-hmm. And first of all, you should take anything you see on the internet with a grain of salt and assume that more than half the drills you see on the internet are probably not age appropriate. I don't know what I just did to set these two knuckleheads off.
It has nothing to do with you. It's
something about joke. Salt. I don't know.
I was just waiting for him to look at me so we could start laughing, and he wouldn't. No, it has nothing to do with anything that you said.
Nothing whatsoever.
But that's a good way though to filter out some of that. You know, if you're not sure about a drill, you're not sure if it's a good drill, you're not sure if you think you could teach it or if it would be beneficial to teach it. You don't know. Go try it.
Or you don't. There are drills that I've seen not tried before or not executed before we get there, and then all of a sudden I'm sitting here going, what is this drill accomplishing? I mean, that's the first thing we got to understand. It goes back to, what questions are we asking? What are we trying to accomplish? I don't even get what we're doing here.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I mean, maybe explain it to me first or something.
That's exactly, and it's hard too because I see videos from guys, and like some of the videos I see this guy doing, and I'm like, I like some of that stuff, but then other stuff I see the same guy doing, and I don't like it. And it's like, if for the average guy that doesn't know what he's looking for, it's all gonna look good,
Yeah.
So it's hard to pick and choose what's gonna work for you. Like, I saw him teaching. You have a partner toss you a ball, you catch it with your one hand, and then you come up with a tee and you hit a different ball off the tee with just one hand. And it's supposed to teach you this or that. And I'm just like, but like you said, what is that really helping you with? Like, when are you going to swing a bat one-handed?
Well, it's not that. It's working your hands. I don't like the two. That there's a lot going on there.
Why are you catching a ball and then holding it while you're trying to swing?
I could understand working top hand, bottom hand type deal. That's important. Is making sure your hands are working independently the proper way, so when they can work together the proper way.
The only thing I can think of that it would do is keep your shoulder closed.
No, it's working. I'm assuming from what he said, it's working top hand, bottom hand. That's what I'm assuming. It's working top hand. Bottom.
You're not reaching out straight to catch it. You're catching it in front of the plate and then bringing that. Okay. I interpreted that completely differently.
I mean, I get the point of it. It's just not something I would do.
No. That's what I mean.
Where you can, if you're working top hand, swing the bat with your top hand.
Working top hand, bottom hand. Work top hand, bottom hand.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot going on. We got to understand that some stuff that we do can create bad habits. Mm-hmm. Where especially if we're trying to do too much. We talk about the boys not try to do too much. As coaches, we got to try to not do too much.
Right.
Make sure we're teaching at the level that we need to be teaching at.
Use the KISS theory. Mm-hmm. Keep it simple.
Right.
Stupid.
And that just seems like a recipe for confusion more than anything.
Like,
confusion and bad development.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe if
I'm not sure any bad habits that can really be created from that, but it just seems like it's more confusion.
Focusing on this too much than.
But if that's what you're saying, I don't understand why the top hand's rolling down underneath to catch the ball. That's what it has to do.
Yeah.
Unless you're going out to reach for the ball here, if it's coming straight up, that's a different thing.
It's more taking your hands to the football.
It's
more taking your hands to the ball.
I see you getting ready to catch the football, right? I got you.
It's more taking your hands to the ball, where that we talk about where that knob goes. That's where the barrel's going to go.
Okay,
I can see that, but
like not a bad drill, but maybe something for older kids.
Okay,
like college.
I don't think it's beneficial for anything.
Even if you want to work, even if you want to not have a tiny bat and you want to work top hand, bottom hand with the catch drill, that's fine. But don't incorporate the backside too.
Right.
That's all. That's what I'm saying. Is there's a lot of moving parts there. You can do the catch drill with just soft front toss where they're catching it and then they catch backhand, catch front hand, catch backhand. I can understand that, just making sure your hands are moving to the baseball independently. That's one thing, but we're doing too much there in that drill.
Yeah, okay.
Like the back toss drill. I'm not a big fan of back toss because
when is the baseball ever going to come from behind you?
That too, and it's hard to.
It's like the confusion. That's where you'll have people tell you generic phrases like any rep is a good rep, or there's no such thing as a bad rep. And I mean, I guess if you aren't thinking into it too much, that's true. But if dive into that, you could argue that.
Bad rep's a bad rep.
I can argue both sides of that, because if you do a bad rep, if you do a bad rep, okay, you can learn from that. Okay, so you're getting something out of a bad rep, but if you're doing repetitious bad reps, then we have bad habit creation. Okay, so if we do a bad rep, fine, learn from it. And that goes back to effort too. If we feel a ground ball and we miss it,
Not just effort,
don't
right,
go to the end of the line.
right questions as well.
Yeah, I will stay 2 hours late if a kid wants to take extra ground balls. I will stay late in a drill, even though we're trying to get in and out of the drills that we're doing.
If the
a
kid keeps asking for the ball.
if he, let's say, and especially if kids are listening to this, if I hit you a ground ball and you don't field it properly,
Don't go to
and you go to the end of the line, that says more to me than anything.
Ah, well, I missed it. Oh, well.
Oh, well. Coach, can I get another one? I want that every time. I'll hit you 5 extra ones. I don't care. I will stay as long as I possibly have to in order to make sure that you feel like you're where you need to be.
Until, like, there becomes the point where, and as coaches, you kind of know that. It's not after the first one. It's not after the second one.
Right.
It's not after the fourth one, maybe. But if you finally see, like, if you're seeing then that they're doing it right, bad bounce or something like that, all right, then it's time to move along.
Yeah.
And get the next, because then you're eventually you're going to wear the next kids up. They're going to get,
Where they're paid. I'm not talking about hitting them 5 consecutively. I'm just talking.
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
That kid comes up, misses the ball. Then says, "Coach, can I get another one so I can do it right?"
Yep.
That says more to me than anything as well.
Oh,
How do you react after that? Do you go to the end of the line? Or do you
you're
go to
talking
the front?
about like an approach towards a practice, an individual player's approach. And that's something that's hard to teach, especially with sports. Sports is, how do you know when you just had a good rep in your own head? What tells you I just did that right? It's hard. You got to feel it. You got to know that you've seen it, and then you got to feel it. And it's okay. I compare it to like music, okay? When I'm learning to play a song on a guitar, but just think about this though. I play
I'm
it
kidding. I'm
until
sorry, that
it
was mean.
sounds
Yeah.
what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Good luck with that when you're practicing a baseball rep. You're gonna practice it until it looks like what you saw
Yeah.
where, and you get my point.
And that's where solid coaching comes.
And how do you know what it looks like? How do you
solid
know
foundation.
what you look like?
Yeah.
It's not
Because
the same.
actually, you know what? I have a picture of a kid when we were teaching fielding, when we were doing fielding drills, and he fields the ball really well during a game. But then when we were doing the drills, he literally looked like he was trying to go to the bathroom. When he went to, when he funneled the ball up to his chest, his butt wasn't back.
Yeah,
it was
and that's
just
one
bad.
thing we teach: butt back, not down.
Yeah.
A lot of coaches I'll hear keep your butt down. Your butt doesn't need to be down. Your butt needs to be back. Just
Yeah, on
Real
your
quick, go ahead.
toes. But he looked ridiculous. But on the flip side, I know he knew how to field the ball. Sometimes if you slow it down for a kid, because if they haven't been taught the exact reps or the exact steps or whatever it is, sometimes if you slow it down, they may not look the same because they may feel uncomfortable in it. And then when you try kind of critiquing one thing or coaching one thing out of them, it may change something altogether. And that's what happened to this kid, where you change one thing, hey, and then he starts thinking too much about it. That's another thing to be aware of when you are coaching. But no. Sorry, he was giving me hand signals.
so.
Red team go, red team go.
I was like, okay.
Ooh, 42.
You could have
Audible.
I could have, but
Yeah.
I didn't.
It was one or the other that for me.
Yep.
Um,
And I just ran across the picture on my phone. It's still on my phone because I took a picture and I sent it to his parents because I'm good friends with his parents. I was like, "What is your son doing?"
that was our sharding shortstop.
It was, yes.
Yeah.
Notice he said sharding, not starting. Like I said, he did everything fine in the field or in the game. Even if you hit him a live ball, he would do it right. And then you try to break it down or slow it down for him, and the form was off.
Well, and back up a little bit too, back to where we were with these bad reps too. Though, you know, like what I was getting ready to try and get at with that is when you're doing some of these like a back toss drill, that's what I would call it could be a bad rep. It's not that. Is it better
Well,
than nothing?
What's it?
Possibly, but is it?
I don't think it's better than nothing. I think that's just
my point.
creating bad habits.
That's my point. Well, let's just put it in a bubble and think about it. What if you only did back toss and then you go and see a normal pitch? You're screwed. You're so messed up that you're not going to be ready for a normal pitch.
What's the back toss supposed to do? Let's explain.
That's
that
what
real
I don't.
fast.
I don't know.
What I was
supposed
told
to-
is that it's supposed to help you get your eyes on the baseball quicker.
But
That doesn't make any sense.
No.
Because generally what you're
I-
supposed to do with back toss is
I-
to be looking forward and then look back at the last second and try to catch the baseball at the last second.
see, to me that
A bad habit.
So-
creation.
I always thought
dumb.
I always thought it was for to work on being able to keep your weight back, or not keep your weight back, but stay balanced and work on hitting an off-speed pitch is what I thought it was for.
That's not what I was told, but I could
That's
see
the
that.
that's the bounce drill when we're doing front toss.
Okay.
That's what you front toss it just like normal, and then you bounce one.
Okay.
That's supposed to be that.
Okay.
I
Okay.
don't, I don't,
So,
yeah, I don't really get it.
Again,
It's
I've never done front toss.
it's
I'm
hitting
sorry,
that-
I've never done back toss because I don't feel.
hitting the ball at that angle too. It's nothing like. It's a complete opposite
Yeah,
of.
it doesn't make any sense to me.
No.
Right.
I've
That's
always-
exactly it. So I can't coach on that. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
But you get my point though. So that it just goes right along with
Does that turn into a bad rep?
right?
Again, I think I don't want to call it a bad rep because you're taking a rep, and if you're still swinging properly, yes. But I think the major thing is, and bad habit alert.
Yeah.
In all honesty, bad
That's
habit
what I
alert.
mean.
You know, and here's the thing, like coaches, that's an important distinction too. Is Coach Lance just said it really, really well. I can't teach something if it doesn't make any sense to me. Just because you've seen something, or someone says, "Hey, you should teach this," but it doesn't make any sense to you. There might be a reason it doesn't make any sense to you. It might not make any sense to begin with.
It goes back to try these drills out yourself and think about when you're done trying the drill. Do I feel like I got better from that? If you improved from it and you can answer why you feel like you got better from it, chances are you're looking at a good drill.
Yeah. What is this drill?
That's
doing?
one thing that I would have liked to be able to do when we were working with the high school coaches, is to jump in and do the drills with them. Not the fielding drills necessarily, but some of the hitting drills that they were doing, some of the hitting techniques and those drills. Because again, as we are talking about, I like to get a feel of what it is, and if I feel it, I can then explain to what the point is here.
Yeah.
Because not only that, but as an adult, and this is nothing against any child learning, as an adult, I can learn this faster because I have more of a foundational
baseline,
knowledge.
yeah.
I have a higher baseline
Like
than what these kids do. So if I have a coach and explaining to me, no, you're supposed to wait to find the ball, like you're talking about, wait to find the ball until the last second, or instead of finding it, wait for that ball to come into your line of sight, and then that's when you're firing your hands or your hips and your hands. So,
it's and you hear an explanation for something, and it's important to ask why.
yeah.
This is what this drill is. What we're doing in this drill. Okay, why? Because what is this helping me do? And a back toss is a great example of that. Why? What is this?
Right. That was a question I didn't get to ask.
Why? And it's a coach.
I did ask, what does this help? But then I didn't ask,
Yeah.
why does it help, or what, exactly.
Well, and that's where and that's a great point that you just did. If you ask why, they're immediately going to become almost defensive and say, "Well, because this will do this," instead of asking, "Why do this drill? Is there another drill that can be done to help with this? Because I don't feel like this is good for. I feel like this can create a bad habit." You know what I'm saying? Like if you just ask the question, okay, well, you're getting your answer, and then all of a sudden you say why. Well, immediately you're like, well, because that, and then that person's gonna, get a little snippy.
Yeah. Well-
instead of, well, is there anything else? Like, oh, again, it's something that I've learned growing up is if you're asking a question that may be combative, if you will, make it your fault. I'm sorry, I don't understand why we're teaching this drill specifically for these reasons. Are there maybe other things that we can be doing? Or I don't feel like this is something that is as beneficial as what maybe another drill is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get that.
A great, but and you're correct.
But if you
by the
can't,
way, there's no disputing that. But a great coach should be able to.
if you can't answer my questions that I'm asking you without getting defensive,
Right.
I'm basically going to tell you to go to hell in such a way that you're going to look forward to the trip.
Yep.
But
In all
the
honesty,
point is,
he does.
well, and I would, but
Man, you want to come with? Nah, I'm good.
But I mean, the vast majority. I mean, you basically, like I'm saying, a great coach should be able to answer these questions without getting defensive and
I
give
wouldn't
you
call it a great coach. I would say a good coach. A good coach
an
should be able to
intelligent
answer.
coach.
Yeah.
If you have an idea of what the hell you're doing in the first place, it doesn't
An
shouldn't take you
experienced
anything.
coach, right? Somebody who really knows what they're doing.
Well,
But the
you should-
sad part about that
you
is
should-
those are few and far between.
You should be doing drills that you believe in.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't believe in it enough to explain it to me, what are you doing for?
Right.
That's really the bottom line.
That's the bottom line. Why are we doing this?
We're doing things. We teach things that we believe in.
Yep.
And some things, like we were talking today about some of the videos that we've found online that are really, some of the effing duh moments that we have as coaches. Like, well, Jesus, of course, but at the same time, I never understood how to explain it.
Right.
And then you get a new way of explaining it. New knowledge is never bad, but you have to understand sometimes the new knowledge is not correct. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to understand where your knowledge is coming from, because all knowledge is not created equal. Sometimes, you get some schlub talking to you on a podcast and you're not quite sure who the hell these guys are, and they're telling you to do things a certain way, and you're going, you should be questioning what we're telling you,
Absolutely.
because that's what good coaches do, is question what they're being told.
And that's what, unfortunately, a lot of this technology and the new generation, that's what it's dumbed us down, because we don't have to be investigators anymore. We don't have to ask the whys, where's, what's, when's, how's. Guess who can answer all of those questions without even thinking about it? Google. I mean, it's.
Bing can do it.
I'm
too.
very guilty of looking something up on the internet, and whatever
If you
the
use Bing,
internet
I'm gonna
tells
stab you
me,
in the
now
jaw.
I'm all of a sudden the expert on the subject because the internet told me something about it, and now I act like I'm smart, even though I'm just recycling garbage I found on the internet.
At least you're recycling.
I'm still trying to figure out how to make a sideways jab at Bing, and I can't figure out how to do it. So
So, we've talked a lot about effort, and there was something specific I know.
yeah.
You wanted to touch on with effort, and we've dug into it quite a bit here.
Yeah.
mean-
Just a quick story, I think, to put a bow on it. Mike Trout. You guys have all heard of him, right? If you haven't, Google it. Yeah, Bing can do it too.
If you haven't, you might want to crawl outside, open a window, check your pulse.
If you've not heard of Mike Trout, go outside.
Or maybe just turn on ESPN because they like him too.
It was his rookie year, and he hit a lazy fly ball to center field, and he lazily jogged to first base, and it took him 6 seconds. And the coach in the dugout with the
And
stopwatch.
for those of you that know Mike Trout, as you said it perfectly, and I got a chuckle out of it, so I got to I got to recite it, if you will. Notice I put my little asterisk on it. It doesn't take Mike Trout 6 seconds to do anything.
Especially not run down to first base. And he got into the dugout, and the coach showed him the stopwatch, and he said, "Fans are coming here to watch you play, not to watch a fly ball."
Not just a fly ball, a lazy fly ball.
He said, "Okay, fair enough." The next time it takes me less than 4.2 seconds to get to first base, I owe you $1,000.
Next time it takes me more than 4.2.
No, yeah. Oh, did I say less?
You did say less. Yep.
Next time it takes me more than 4.2 seconds to get to first base, I owe you $1,000. You know how many times he's had to pay $1,000?
How many?
0.
None.
So it is. Effort's not hard. Derek Jeter said it perfectly. Some of the way that Derek Jeter approached the game, I really liked. As a player, didn't really care for him, most likely because he wore that stupid NY on his forehead. I think if he had been on any other team, I would have liked him a little bit more.
Yeah, it doesn't help that I feel like his ability was overplayed.
I feel like he was a terrible shortstop.
You can't say terrible.
Oh, okay, I just did. Did you hear me?
I did. I won't let you say terrible. Let me put it that way, because he wasn't terrible. He did his job.
Mm-hmm.
He did his job, and how many rings does he have on his finger, or fingers for you, mind you?
Yeah.
So with that, you can't say terrible, because he did his job at shortstop.
Yeah. What did you? Where did you get all that straw for that straw man argument you just made?
But hold on. But where you're getting at is, and what I agree with you on, is if you would look at his range chart.
His UZR.
Yes.
It's terrible.
It's awful. It's not good.
No. I think he would have been a very good second baseman. Maybe. I mean, he's a Hall of Fame shortstop, but.
Right, and that's where I'm saying.
The thing about Jeter is
he was terrible.
He never got
Terrible.
He never. Well, he was an offensive more than defensive, but
Without a doubt.
he made everything look really, really nice.
Right.
I mean, ball hitting the hole. that's why Chad Curtis is out in left field. But
Yeah, he made everything look really good because he would make a routine ground ball look
Yeah.
like the most difficult play.
He would look what was easy for, just to look at
Yeah.
his counterpart at Boston, and where Nomar would make it look routine.
Omar Vizquel is the best one I've ever seen.
Omar, yeah.
Yeah.
But Jeter never got pull happy. He hit the ball to the opposite field. Even his last at bat, he
Hit the ball
walked
right
off
center.
walked off with a base hit to right center field.
Yep.
I mean, it's just that's who he was, and he knew what he was.
Yeah.
And they asked him, okay, so you lost the game, you lost the World Series in Game 6, but that's still a pretty successful season. He said, we lost. What are you talking about? We lost. And the guy kept trying to prime like, oh, no, but, think about it. What are you not getting? We lost.
True competitor.
Yeah.
Because that's as a true competitor, that's the way you feel.
Yeah.
Any season you don't take home a trophy, you
lost. As Billy Bean said, we're trying to win the last game of the season.
Yeah.
And he told Peter Gammons, he said, don't praise me in my last half of the season. Don't praise me for running hard to first base. That's just what you do. That's how you play the game. And I feel like punching myself in the face for saying this because it's said too much and it's overstated. But for him, I feel it's true. He played the game the right way.
He did.
I've always
felt
felt
in the
that.
face now, but
Yeah.
but he did, and not just that.
There was no question the effort level that Derek Jeter was giving here.
Never was. Whether
And that's why he's still respected.
whether he's in the right position or not. I know that we won't get into it, but that is why he's respected, and that's why anybody that you talk to about Jeter will combat you about how terrible of a shortstop he was.
Yeah.
Because that is not anywhere close to anything in his.
I mean, just
and
think about the landscape of baseball, of all-time great baseball highlights. Just imagine how that changes if Jeremy Giambi slides.
regardless, I completely lost what I was gonna say. Thank you.
Such a horse's
you
ass.
know what you made me think about though is you talked about attitude and effort,
Yeah.
and
That was way back.
I can't think of a
Those are the
player
only two
that
things that you can
I
control.
can't. I can't think of a player that exemplifies excellence in those two categories better than Derek Jeter.
Oh my!
Right. Oh, that's what I was
His
going to get at.
attitude, his persona, the way he carried himself on the field in the most pressure-filled environment, being as you know, you might hate those pinstripes, but you know dang well as I do, the minute you put those on, you just inherited twice as much pressure.
Well, not just that, you also inherited specific contractual obligations you have to uphold for the Yankees.
Yep.
For the Yankees, you can't have facial hair.
Yeah.
Cannot. It's contractually written down. Cannot have facial hair. Hair has to be kept clean, et cetera, et cetera. You see Johnny Damon go from bearded
The bearded idiot
to clean cut Johnny Damon. Still can't throw, but Johnny Damon's got a rag on.
That's what I've always said. Is everybody talked about Manny being Manny, and Manny did this, and remember when Manny cut the throw off from center field from left field, like Manny was in left and Johnny Damon threw it and Manny cut it off, and everybody wants to get on Manny about that. That's the right baseball play. Johnny Damon needs several cuts on a throw from center field.
My only question was, at this point, I've seen that quite a bit. How, if Manny's 20 feet away, how is he able to catch that ball if he's throwing it to shortstop?
He was on his knees when he cut it too.
He was. I know. I mean, he had to dive for it a little bit.
If a Tyrannosaurus Rex threw a baseball, it would look like Johnny Damon.
It so would. So talk about the noodle arm.
Have you ever considered maybe you're right-handed?
I love it.
He does throw like a right-hander trying to throw left-handed.
Yeah. Oh, he does. Absolutely.
does.
Yep.
But he sure is fast.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he did what he's supposed to do. But with Jeter, so you're talking about how well he handled him professional, or how well he handled the pressure on the field, how he was a professional ball player. What I wanted to bring up, and this is what got me back to my thought. Not only did he do all those things on the field, he was that way off the field.
He was a tremendous teammate. Oh my God! Have you seen the video of when him and Andy Pettitte walked out to the mound to take out Mariano Rivera on his last game pitching?
I got goosebumps thinking about that though.
I started crying.
Did you really?
Yeah. I hate the Yankees, and it was
Okay.
it
I hate
hit
the
me right
Yankees
in
too.
the cockles of my heart.
Right. I hate the Yankees too. That is the best closer of all time.
Oh yeah.
And to see him leave and in that kind of fashion would make me cry too.
Yeah. To see Andy Pettitte, Derek Jeter walk out from the dugout and take the ball, and just to see the emotion from Mo, and to see the emotion from Andy and
Jeter.
Oh man, like that's
Dude, you got me almost into tears, by the way.
people that
Just thinking about it.
don't get it will say it's just a game.
Right.
But that, oh man. Yeah, watch it if you want a good cry.
I might do it right after the podcast here.
So,
But yeah, I mean, and that's, we've talked about effort. We kind of driven the point home, I feel like. Put a bow on it, if you will.
You had something you wanted to bring up about
I did, but I wanted to
Okay.
finish the effort thing real fast. And
it looked like you were trying to.
I was, but you didn't let me wrap it up completely. Okay, I was still tying that last little bit of the bow, making it nice and
If
taut.
you've seen a present that I wrap, you know that I don't know how to wrap stuff.
You don't wrap anything; you put it in a bag.
The FU wrap. You didn't wrap it; you covered it.
That's exactly right. But so I brought up effort, brought up how he handles himself off the field, and those things can go hand in hand. Mm-hmm. I know there are days where I feel like a piece of junk because I haven't worked out or haven't done something productive, and my effort level for anything the next day or even the rest of that day is down, is bad. So when it comes to putting in that stuff, like again bringing up Jeter, professional on and off the field,
He never
effort on and off the field. You never heard anything in the news about him. Never heard. There's something I was reading about him. I don't know why we're so much on Jeter, but something I was reading about him where the bellman worked at his apartment complex the whole time he lived there, and not one time did he ever see Jeter bring anybody home.
See, that's contrary to the story that I've heard.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, either way.
Not well.
That's it.
Maybe he had a bunch of road games. I don't know.
Well, notice I said home.
81 of them are road games. So you wanted to
But,
bring something up.
yes.
Are you done with your
I'm
point?
done. I'm
Okay.
done. I was just
You
saying
sure?
that, effort on and off is, effort off the field will help you put more effort on the field.
Well, I remember when he broke his ankle, he gained a bunch of weight, and they called him Derek Eater.
Yes. I remember that too. Whew.
It was funny.
It was funny.
Sorry. So you wanted to talk about your pops real quick.
I did. So he was listening to our first, our episode 1, and he started asking a question because we were talking about technical things, and I had brought up Kellen and about his hitting specifically. In this, because we talked about click factor in episode 1, and with that we were talking about something specifically for Kellen during that podcast. I don't remember exactly what it was, but he had me pause it so we could ask the question. He goes, because I told him, I said, Kellen, when he misses his swing, is only off by maybe an inch. Mm-hmm. And he goes, really? So do you think you're making it too technical? You're getting too fanatic about where things are specifically? Because as you said, if Kellen's swing is off, it could be off an inch and his swing is off, or if it's on, then it's in the right spot. Because we're talking about his hands and how sometimes he'll get to the point to where he's casting. And
for those of you guys that don't understand what casting is, we use that word casting for when your hands get further away from your body. You don't want your hands further away from your body. You want your hands in tight towards your body. That's what he means by casting, just for you guys that didn't get
right,
that.
So he does both. So sometimes he'll cast, other times he'll get his hands too close, which then causes his hands then to cast out when he's ready to swing.
Just creates a longer swing path, really, and that's how you get beat by fastballs.
And that's how you get beat. And so, that's what we were talking about specifically. So my dad asked the question, and it was very intuitive of him to ask this question about, are you teaching this too technical? Are you getting too specific, too technical about where your hands have to be, where your swing has to be? And this is going back to a guy that didn't play a lot of baseball growing up, or even in high school at all, none. And then, but turn around and was coaching me, but naturally, I developed a natural swing. I did go to some camps and develop my swing that way too. So it wasn't a lot of things.
Here's the only way I can rebut that statement is perhaps, but when your surface area of contact is less than the size of a quarter, you have to be pretty technical.
And that's kind of what I said. What my answer to that was, and I use a lot of references to what I've researched on that, because if you look at it, and we've talked about this, if you look at major league ball players' swings, and my dad's a true believer. He goes, I don't care what your bat does before the ball's pitched, but your hands better be in the right spot when you're ready to swing.
Yeah, I've heard that 100,000 times, and I'm not in 100% agreement with that. You look at a guy like Yuri Gurriel.
Easy for you to say.
Yuli Gurriel from the Astros. That's something I wanted to get into real quick too, but we'll get into that later. I would never teach anybody to swing like that.
But okay, so regardless, that has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
I do care what you're doing before you swing. I do care, because how much wasted movement do we have that's going to create bad habit?
Are you comfortable in the box?
Okay. I mean,
that's why I look at
fair
it.
enough.
My hands were high.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable for me to bring my hands down to a loaded position already before I'm ready to swing because my hands were up higher than my shoulder. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Whereas your hands were low. Your hands were more in that loaded position already.
Yeah.
Whereas
That's how I was taught.
look at Gary Sheffield. Look where the hell his hands were.
Yeah, but how many people are Gary Sheffield?
Regardless,
That's like comparing.
It's like
comparing me to
thank you.
Patrick Kane.
Thank you. So my point was, it doesn't matter what your bat is doing, what you're doing before the pitch, if you will. What matters is where your hands get to when your swing is beginning, right? Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. We can, all three of us can agree on that, and even our listeners should be able to agree on that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what matters. When your hands get to that loaded position, if you would take if you would take Gary Sheffield and find another person that's the same height, okay, there will be less, probably, if you would take 10 of them, there would probably be less than an inch difference on their hand placement for their swing.
As far as the loaded position?
As far as the loaded position ready to swing.
Like once you get to the load.
Once all 10 of those hitters,
Once your front foot's down, everybody's in the same spot.
Once all 10 of those hitters get to your loaded position ready to swing, when their hands are ready to fire, if you will, all 10 of those hitters, I almost guarantee it, are within an inch of everyone.
Right. Okay. But
and that's my point where technically, no, I don't feel like I'm being too technical about coaching him because it truly does matter where your hands are when you're swinging.
Right. I'm talking.
But what he's saying is they're too big. Does that leave too much of an area to make a mistake?
I'm talking about in youth baseball. I do care where you start. It's at the younger ages. It's really important that they're not watching Yuli Gurriel and trying to mimic that because there's
Bautista.
no way they're getting there. No way they're getting their hands to where they need to be.
There's no way they're getting anything to where it
Especially
needs to
without
go.
I think the point you're kind of illustrating, at least if I'm reading between the lines correctly, is for me, okay, like you hear, then this is, we're going to open up a can of worms here, guys, get ready. When you hear about a lot of youth coaches, especially in Little League, you're going to hear a lot of coaches talk to their hitters and tell them, get your back elbow up.
Oh God, I can't
Okay,
say that.
and then you're gonna hear a lot of no, wait. See, now we're coming from that newer school of thought where it's actually that doesn't really matter. Don't worry so much about having your back elbow up. Worry about getting to the baseball. What really matters, that to me, there is no right or wrong to that question.
The right and wrong is don't get your back elbow up, you dummy.
No, no. Wait a minute. I'm gonna actually challenge you on that just a little bit and challenge your thought process on that. Before you swing, before you get to your loaded position, it does not matter where your elbow is. Now, if your knuckles are lined up correctly, which we all know makes a huge difference when you're swinging a baseball bat, it's how you avoid rolling over. If your knuckles are lined up correctly, now if you're sitting at home, you've got 3 sets of knuckles, right? You got the ones closest to your fingernails. You got the ones up by your palm. The middle set of knuckles is the ones I'm referring to. So if you're sitting at home, line up your knuckles with your middle knuckles. Now, take and lift your back elbow up without turning your wrist. It's an uncomfortable, strange position to be in. That is why having your back elbow up before you're in your load doesn't make a bit of difference in the world. When you get into your full load, like what you're talking about, and you slow it down and you look at almost 99.9% of professional baseball hitters, and you look right before they're about to come to their swing, you will see their back elbow is in fact up.
They're creating a box.
Okay, so my definition of up and your definition of up and your definition of up are probably
all different.
It's
Yeah.
all different. However, I'm pretty sure that our definition of up, me and you, Coach Patrick, are very similar, whereas this, to me, is not up.
Right. That's proper.
That's loaded.
Right.
You're creating a box.
You create a box. Look at my box here. you seen it wrestle too? Sorry. Box. Okay. Boom, boom. Here, even for that matter, there's a box with the bat. But here, you're right. But the second that elbow comes up higher than, if you will, 90 degrees,
That's
that's up.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
up.
Okay. Yeah.
And
yeah,
that's
yeah,
what
yeah,
you're
yeah.
teaching when you say. I'm sorry, I'm really far away
Yeah.
from my mic, but that's what you're teaching when you say
Correct.
elbow up.
Right.
That's what the kids are going to do.
That's what the kids are going to do. They're
and
going to
it's
start
gonna-
doing. They're going to start doing this,
and it's going to create
And it's
tilt.
gonna- They're
It's
going to
create tilt.
I've
Right.
seen kids do this number
Yeah.
when you say
Yep.
elbow up.
People, you say these things like back elbow up. Well, when you say back elbow up, what is that trying to combat? First of all, if you say your back out, you need to get your back elbow up. What are they trying? What do they think they're combating?
They're trying to
They're trying not to create an uppercut.
an uppercut. Right. Thank
If
you.
your back
Yep.
elbow goes up, all of a sudden you're creating tilt forward, where you're even exacerbating the issue.
Yes.
Understand what we're teaching.
Understand what. Ask the right questions.
Right.
So yes, getting your elbow up. If you get them again in your loaded position, if you look at again your majority, grab 10 players that are the same height, they're going to be within
Right.
a very small area of being off. And again, that's dependent on the hitter. Especially if you grab Jeter and you grab another guy that's his height, that's more of a power hitter, if you will, for that hits for home runs. His elbow may be down a little bit more compared to Jeter, where Jeter's going to be hitting the ball to right field, right? Just because Jeter's more of a contact hitter.
Right.
That's just the nature of the beast. Because again, in order to hit a home run, you got to get the ball up over the fence. So you're going to create the launch angle. So that elbow is going to drop down a little bit. Again, probably not much more than an inch,
Right.
if we're talking in that same area. So that's where I was getting at, was technicalities, or technically teaching, where if Kellen's swing is off by an inch, whether it's casting or up and down,
He's not making good contact.
he's not going to make good contact. If he's in the right area, then he's going to make solid contact.
Right.
So his main question was more concern, or more, not concern, but more about, are you creating a much smaller room for error?
Yeah. Well, there's not much room for error when you're hitting a baseball. It's the hardest thing to do in sports. You're hitting a spherical ball with a rounded bat. Your surface area is not high.
It's not high, absolutely. So
Not that that's not the right question to ask at that situation, but
it was more
concern for his grandson.
probably concern for his grandson, because but then I look back and I'm like, well, he hit over 600 last year, so I can't really.
I mean,
I'm not going to change anything.
Maybe you just let me coach him.
No, that wasn't. I would never
know,
be that.
I
I would
know.
never say that, because as much of
There's so much insight from somebody else.
Right.
There
are still
sometimes
things
you
that,
can't. Sometimes you can't see it. Like I can sit on the outside of a dugout, or from where the parents sit, and I can see different things that I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
I can't necessarily see that from my dugout.
right.
You know what I mean? It's
Right.
just it's just a different vantage point.
Different vantage points, different views. I know there are times that we're talking, or I'll get done with the game and I'll ask, we talk to my dad about it, because a lot of times I don't talk to him about that stuff, just because I feel like I know more than he does. That's awful
Yeah.
to say, because that's probably the only thing that I know more than him
Yeah.
about.
Well.
But it's still, he'll bring up the questions and ask why I'm doing things, and it's great. I love that, because he's wanting to learn, but then he also has solid questions to kind of rebut my answer,
It's not even that. It's when
because he's making me think about it.
Yep.
That's what I
exactly.
like.
Exactly.
He's making me think about my coaching techniques, my teaching techniques, and again, this is in specific regards to my son, to his grandson,
Right.
that he cares about, obviously, but but not only that, is it going to help me then with the other kids that I'm teaching and
Right.
coaching.
You made me think about the 24-hour rule, which I'm personally completely against, but I get why certain coaches might like it. But if you're not familiar, a lot of coaches and organizations and have the rule that they like 24 hours after a game to have any issues brought up, so that they have time to cool their jets and everybody's got
It
calmer
gives-
heads will prevail type of concept.
It gives everybody a chance. I don't need 24 hours, but you might need 24
Yeah,
hours.
and you know what? Sometimes,
Or you know
some
what? In all
people
honesty,
do-
I may need 24 hours because you know what?
Right.
We just lost maybe a tough game that we shouldn't have lost, and I may not be in the right mindset to talk to you about
Yeah.
certain things. So the 24 hour I think needs to be in place. I think if a parent understands who you are, and again, as a coach, you should reach out to your parents and let them get to know you a little bit.
Yep.
If a parent understands who you are and you make it clear, you can talk to me whenever you want to, but if you also then make it clear that after a game, please give me 24 hours.
or just understand that if you are going to talk to me, be prepared because
Right.
I
you
might.
may
might
you
not,
may get a
yeah.
raw side from me.
It might not get where we want to get to, and that's the thing is we want to get to where we're trying to get to, but if the emotions are hot and the cooler heads aren't prevailing, well, I had a situation with a parent, I have a very good relationship with a parent, and to this day there's no issues, but it was in the middle of a game. We had a couple of things happen, and then the game started to slip away from us. And luckily, we were able to regain our footing long enough to not let the game completely get out of hand.
Yep.
And we were able to win it and get into the championship. But it happened, and everything kind of happened at the same time. And he said something to me, and it really pissed me off. And looking back on it, had the game not started to slip away from us, and then something else happened where it was, kind of the, water under a bridge. I'll talk to you about it. But right now, not the time,
Right.
and that's the only thing is, and maybe he didn't know that now it's not the time, but
And again, it could have been delivery on his part as well.
right. Yep.
And that's where it comes from as a
And
parent.
I do believe there is a time and a place for everything. However, for me personally, my personal philosophy on it is I would rather hear it than not hear it. And if the only time you're going to tell it to me is right now, then just, you know what, I'm going to bite my tongue and I'm going to hear you out. It's for me.
But see, I don't. I
I enjoy. See, that's just it. Every coach is a little different. I prefer to have the knowledge. I want to know.
I have no problem with the knowledge. I have no problem with giving my answer. What I have a problem with is I don't want to make you upset at me because you don't like the answer that you're given, and
Right.
then it turns into something that it should not have.
Yep.
True.
Because again, that's why I put the 24-hour rule in place. But I also made it clear to my parents that please understand the circumstances. Like if it's after a league game, yeah, absolutely come up and talk to me. I have no problem with that. If it's after a Sunday game that we just lost and we shouldn't have, now it's not the time because I'll be stewing on this for 24 hours.
If we piss away a 6-run lead, you can give me 36 hours at least.
shoot me a text message and ask me when I'll be available.
I'm not sleeping.
Yeah, it requires some time to get.
I'm with you.
So that's
means,
where
that means your coaches care.
But but
agreed.
even a Saturday game, again, depending on what it is, or bracket play, not bracket play, but pool play, depending on the team,
Depending on the situation.
Understand if you're heated,
That's not the time.
It's not the time. Like that's the thing is that's why it's in place.
That's important.
If the parent is upset, take a step back. Give it the 24 hours. That way you can cool down, take a step back, look at it from all angles. Because when you're heated, you're not looking at it from all angles. You're looking at it from one angle, and that is it.
But speaking of angles, that's kind of what for me, you just alluded to like how sometimes parents get to see things that I cannot see or just don't have the right perspective to see.
A lot of the times.
So sometimes I do enjoy getting that immediate feedback.
Okay,
So
but
that's
a lot of the times that the parents, if they're going to be upset, which is what the 24-hour rule is in place for, if they're going to be upset, it has nothing to do with baseball issues.
Yeah.
It has to do with playing time.
Understand
It
that.
has to do with their child specifically.
yeah.
And what you're doing with their child, not about
Right, a lot of these parents, and that's unfortunate.
where's
That's
the
what sucks is-
why are
and I
you
don't
telling my
blame
kid to get
them.
to a balance point?
They don't care as much about the team as you do, obviously, and that's what sucks because
They don't have to.
they don't. I don't blame them. Do you blame them if you were only it's hard for me to even look through that light because I don't have that
If I'm only a
perspective.
parent,
But if I was only a parent and I truly only was there for my kid, I guess
if I'm only a parent,
I would.
and I'm
feel
there,
the
and I'm
seat-
there to watch my child
Yeah.
play. Now, this is coming from the coach that's inside of me
Right.
as a parent, I'm not there to not allow my child to be a part of the team. Does that make sense? Like, I'm still here to teach my child that just because he's an individual person doesn't mean that he matters, if you will. Does that make sense? Like, you still have to play with 9 players on the field. You can't play with 1. So it's still a team effort. It's still a team sport.
Do
You
your
can't
do your job.
do your job, and when your teammates do their job, you go and you give them a high five. You slap gloves. You say good job. Maybe give them a little kick in the butt if it's fun. Whatever.
So
I'm waiting for my segue here. I see something right down there, and it's perfect. That was did you see how I just
Yeah.
lay that on the tail? I set it on the tee for you.
here's what
Dude, he cooked the toast and buttered it for you and
I knew
everything.
I knew what he was doing.
All you had to do is take a bite, man.
You won't eat toast.
Kirby.
God damn your ketosis.
All right.
It's fucking Massachusetts. Anyway, one thing I talked to Coach Logan about this, and I didn't get a chance to talk to you, Coach Lance, about it yet.
What? You talked to him before you talked to me?
I did.
That's
I did. No.
It's okay.
Am I becoming second fiddle now?
My kids were going crazy in the background. It was like a 5-minute conversation, if it makes you feel any better.
No, it doesn't. Because I could have actually given the time to talk to him.
Yeah, because that happens.
I tried.
Yeah, I know. I called you. I barely even talked to you. yeah. Hello. I'm like, you called?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
All right. See you in a minute.
Anyway,
Oh my God, what?
why aren't you here yet?
The one thing that I want to do above and beyond is we talked a lot about being a bad teammate or being a good teammate last week, and we struggle. I think every team struggles with this. And one thing I want to start putting in place with ours is at the end of practice, I want to take 4 or 5 kids at random and ask them how they were a good teammate in that practice. And for a
You
couple,
read it to the head coach?
not yet.
Not yet.
For a couple of reasons, and it could be, I mean, I don't really even care what the answer is. I want you to think about it, because then you're going to do something in practice to be a good teammate, so you can tell me about it at the end of practice. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to pick you up at random and say, what'd you do to be a good teammate today? Whether it's I told them to stop talking while coach was talking. I
hate that, though.
do too.
Don't tell your teammate to stop talking, because then you're the one that's going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Because I'm hearing you and seeing you. Second person always gets caught, bro.
Yeah.
I can't stand it. I say it to Kellen all the time, because he'll be like, I was just telling him to be quiet. I'm like, I don't care. You were talking too.
Yeah.
You weren't paying attention. If you just sit there and you're listening to me, I will see who's
I'll take
talking, and
care of
I
it.
will take care of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
But did they make it? If
Shows an effort, though. Of trying
It does
to be a
show an
good
effort.
teammate.
Yeah. Hey, man. Shh.
if you made an error,
You're right, though. That's a great point. It sucks.
if a kid made an error, did you pick him up?
Right.
Just how are you a good teammate?
What's your guys' thoughts on this? Okay, so let me ask you. I'll give you a situation. You tell me if this is a good teammate or if this is a bad teammate. Okay, so you've got a teammate who watches more baseball than you, is a little more plugged in, he's had a few more private lessons than you. He's a little farther along in his baseball journey just because of circumstance. He's talented, whatever.
I know my answer already.
So he sees his teammate doing a drill, and his teammate is trying but isn't quite getting something that he understands, and he recognizes, hey, maybe you should try to do this. So he's interjected, and now he's coaching his teammate. Is what
I know my answer. I do my answer halfway through that.
There are two. There are
One word. I got one word. Can I just say it? One word.
Mm-hmm.
Delivery.
Yep.
okay.
So you beat me to it. It really depends on how he says it, and also, I'm the coach.
Yeah.
That's what bristles me a little bit. It's
Yeah.
like I'll take care of it. Maybe like Kellen tries to do that a lot, and it's like I appreciate it, and I know that you're trying to help, and I know you're trying to be a good teammate. But
Like
right now,
so you see where we think it's being a good teammate. Again, depending on delivery. If they're delivering it, like, why don't you try it this way, dude? Not a good teammate. Right.
Yeah.
Now you're just I can't come up with words.
Degrading.
words,
No, not degrading.
hard time to find. I'm having.
Not degrading. Whatever. Duh. Now you're just making the person feel dumb, right?
Degrading them, yeah. I mean,
Degrading. is the right
Degrading is
word.
not the right word that I wanted. It was not what I was thinking of. But regardless, you're
You're cutting them down.
cutting them down.
Well,
So
because they're not as good as you.
Right.
That's different. But
that's where the delivery comes in.
there's an element of being a good teammate in it is trying to help out. But maybe I'm not working on that with him. I know as a coach, I'm working on different things with different.
Okay. I
Maybe-
get what you're saying.
maybe
where
I'm
you're coming, where it
getting
gets you a
there.
little bristly about it. Okay.
I'm getting there. I'm not quite got there yet.
Not
I
yet.
got some other things to clean up before I can get to where you're trying to jump in at. And now his head's spinning.
Right.
And also it comes with too many voices.
Yep.
Let me be the voice.
Yep. I agree on all the points, but I have a hard time not allowing it to happen.
Right. I get what you're saying.
And turning it into a positive, making sure it's a positive thing, and then explaining to, at the same time, both players that are right there, one to Kellen, one to the player that Kellen.
One to one of the players, one to the other.
the player that's teaching, and then the other one to the one that's learning. We're not to that point yet. I appreciate your input. I appreciate you telling that, because that is correct or that it's incorrect or something like that. But I appreciate you telling them that and whatnot. But I'm not there yet. So we're going to work on this right now. Now you're talking to your learning player. Now we're working on this. We're going to work on this right now, and then we will be able to get to that. Okay. So remember that.
Okay.
Technique.
Yep.
Once we finish this one.
So let's play again. Just had a tough inning, okay, on defense. Now we're coming in, we got a hit, and we're down by a couple runs, and it's getting close towards the end of the game. We know the pressure's on. We all know we got to step up. And same teammate comes to the group and, come on, guys, we got to get some runs going this inning. Again, delivery. He says it just like that. Come on, guys, we really got to. You're kind of almost getting on him a little bit, but it's still trying to rally the troops.
I don't think it is. And then I know exactly who you're talking about, so it's hard for me to divorce myself from that.
I'm just trying to, that's where I'm just at. If you've got that kid that struggles with being a good teammate, and he's making an effort to be a good teammate, but isn't coming about it the right way.
I'm not sure he's making an effort to be a good teammate, because I know who you're talking about again. So it's hard for me to divorce myself from that.
That's another topic.
It's the Vontaze Burfict of the kid,
Right.
The past performance is going to come into play.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
if I see you trying to make an effort to be a good teammate, all of a sudden I'm going to think you're not being a good teammate because you never have before.
Right. So then it's going to come across, and even to the players, it's going to it may come across in a negative way. I hate the word "come on." I hate those words, because that's saying that no one is holding up their end of the deal, and it feels that, and then it sounds like only you are. So I hate those words. Much rather say, all right, let's go, boys. Let's get these runs back, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
I say that when I play softball. I'm like, let's go, boys, let's get this. I don't know what it is, but
you've illustrated that point very greatly in the sense that
if you want to see a group of guys picking each other up, go watch D-League, Beer League softball.
yes, yeah, I know. I
That's
brought it
all
up a
it
few
is.
times. That's
Yeah.
all. They're out there to have fun. And yes, they want to be competitive. They don't want to lose, obviously.
Right.
But they're still out there to have fun. And if they're chasing 12 runs, then you know what? Hey, man, don't worry about it. We'll get it next time.
Well, we've chased 12 runs before and came back.
Oh yeah. All it takes. In beer league, all it takes is one.
It's Beer League softball.
Right.
Come on.
So it takes one any. But that's the thing is, again, past performance is going to matter. Delivery is going to matter. Even verbiage for that matter. plays a part in it. Like I said, I hate the words "come on" because
Yeah.
it's, in a way, it is combative.
Unwittingly negative.
Yes. Yes.
What I've kind of been alluding to is that obviously that's a challenge on not just my team, but I'm sure many teams, is that the teammates and creating a cohesive group out of them that results in a group and not just every guy kind of. And when I say it's a tough thing because we tell you do your job, but
Yeah.
we also want you to be a good teammate.
Well,
So
it's real hard sometimes
It is.
to
It's-
understand at that age what being a good teammate is. And I'm not sure I really understood it until senior year of high school playing football.
and it's a hard
I'm
thing. It's
sh-
much harder to coach than
You can't
baseball.
Coach it. You can't
No,
really
you
coach
can't.
it. You can show them what to do,
You
but
can set an
again,
example. You can teach them
Yep.
how it needs
how it's
to
supposed
go.
to look.
But exactly.
How
very
it's supposed
very
to
good.
look.
Very well said.
But you're not teaching them the actual
How to put it in place.
the correct emotional state that
Right.
you're
Right.
in when you do
Yep.
that. And I think that's
Like,
that's the downfall that we have.
Good luck teaching someone Derek Jeter's just calmness. You know,
Oh no, you can't.
that's my point.
But
you
that
know?
comes with reps.
But
In all honesty, it comes with reps and confidence.
Games.
And
Games played.
right.
You know, when I was a senior playing football in high school, we were down in the first playoff game, and we ended up going into overtime. But we're sitting there, and then they took the lead, and I'm like, all right, well, this is over. And I was kind of down. I'm like, okay, well, at least I won't have to spend practice tomorrow getting yelled at. And that's exactly what I thought. And then we scored right away, and we took the lead back. And then my first thought was, I strapped my helmet up, and I went, don't let them down. Go do your job to not let them down. And
Yeah,
that's
goosebumps.
when I really understood what it meant to be a teammate.
Right. Yep.
So being able to teach that.
That's a great way to define being a good teammate is when you care more about not letting your teammates down than you do about your own personal success. Which
Absolutely.
which is ironic because those two things go
Yeah.
hand in hand.
Yeah.
But
Right. And that's where
essentially you're caring about the same thing. You're just you're going at it from a different
saying,
mindset.
Don't be the one that everybody looks at that effed it up for everybody.
Right.
Which is the same thing but different at the
Right.
same time.
Different.
Because you're
And-
still
and again-
wanting yourself to
and-
succeed.
And again, we're talking about delivery here.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it really boils down to is if you have a kid.
is caring enough about the I hate this phrase too, but caring enough about the guys you go to war with every day to make sure that you're not letting them down. And if they let you down, don't then in turn let them down by not picking them up.
Well done. I love that. I think that was very well put.
Good bow on that.
Yep. Nodded. Put a little candy cane in the middle of it.
Yeah. So we're about. I think we're up against it. I wanted to real quick get to. Do we got time? No.
Not really. Unless it's something quick.
What
2
was
minutes.
it? Yeah, what was it?
I want to get back to the Yuli Gurriel deal.
It's not Yuli.
Is it, what is it? What is
It's
this?
Uriel.
No, it's Gurriel. Yuli Gurriel.
Is it Yuli?
I think so.
I gotta look up his first name because I don't think it's Yuli.
So I was watching him hit yesterday, and I was like, man, I really enjoy watching this guy hit. What hitters do you guys?
Yulieski.
Yulieski. So Yuli.
Yuli. Yeah, okay.
Are there any specific hitters you guys will go out of your way to watch an at bat of? Or, hey, we're getting ready to leave, but this dude's up right now. I want to watch this dude hit because I really
man.
enjoy watching this guy hit, and then we'll leave.
I've got my guys, but I'm
I got
come
3
off
of
like
them.
such a homer.
You are. Let's hear your homers.
Oh, I love watching Rizzo bat. I just love his
Okay.
plate approach. I love that he's not afraid to crowd the plate, but he doesn't always crowd the plate. He does it
Right.
situationally and always at the right time.
I think the best hitter on that
No.
team is Ben Zobrist.
I love Zobrist's at bats too. I do see that.
He's one of mine.
But
He's one of my 3. Ben Zobrist.
I love his plate approach. You're right. He's in every at bat.
But Rizzo-
he never gives up on an at bat ever.
Rizzo always crowds the plate, bro.
He always does, but sometimes he does it more than others. You know what I mean? Sometimes he gets closer to the plate than I've seen at bats where he is like on the plate, and then other bats where he's like at least in the like. There's at bats where I see him where he's literally like almost not in the batter's box, like he's that close to the plate. And then there's other at bats where his foot's there's at least some space between the batter's box and his foot.
He's
That's
daring.
what I mean.
He's daring you to bust him in because he trusts himself.
Yes, I mean I've seen him
Okay.
like.
I'm not that big of a fan of he's not appointment TV for me like Ben Zobrist is.
I agree. Ben Zobrist, I think, is one of those. I think you're right. I have a hard time pinpointing.
You're right. Zobi was a great example though. I
Pinpointing who I
like
will-
guys like that, scrappy guys that are tough outs.
I'll give you my other two.
Okay.
One of them's fairly obvious and one of them's not. I love watching Freddie Freeman.
Okay.
And I don't know why, because I hate his batting stance.
Right.
But I just like his approach that he hits with. He's really fun to watch hit.
Okay.
And the poster child for this conversation is Joey Votto.
Yeah.
Joey Votto's one of those that if you get 2 strikes on him, you're probably gonna walk him. I mean, that's just the way I feel about him.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right with Joey Votto. Is it appointment television? No. Do I love the way he handles his at bats? Absolutely.
Well, if he's up next, I'm not turning the TV off.
Right.
That's what I mean. I'm not going out of my way to watch Joey Votto hit, but if he's
Right.
up next and the
If he's
game's
up
on,
next, yeah.
we're going to wait 5 minutes.
We're gonna wait 5 minutes for their bat to be over. I get you. Yes. I don't have the luxury in doing that, but
Right.
You're right. Yes, that is one thing that I would definitely do. If I think about the Cubs, just because that's who I mainly watch. If I think about the Cubs, I don't really truly believe that there's anybody on that team. Zobrist, I think, is a good example, just because he gives you a professional at bat.
Yeah, he's a professional hitter. He's a guy that goes up to the plate with an idea of what he wants to do and an idea of how the pitcher's going to try to get him out.
Right.
And Votto's the same way.
You guys are. Oh man, go ahead.
And so I like that, but I don't see anybody on the Cubs that I truly like. To me, is that appointment television. I have a hard time coming up with anybody.
Baez is interesting to watch just because it's such a boomer bust.
I
You
hate
don't know.
watching him
I
hit.
can't stand.
Oh, I
watching
know,
Baez
but
hit.
at the same time, when he does,
It's an emotional roller coaster.
it's
Yeah.
exciting. That's what I mean. It's exciting when he does.
I like watching Bryce Harper, but
But you guys talking to your point, something I'd like to talk about probably next week. We could bring it up, but the small ball versus big ball debate. Modern baseball versus
that's all situational stuff. But that's we'll get into that. We can.
it's
a lot of meat on that bone.
There's
A lot of meat on that bone.
Oh yeah,
I'm
because,
might
just
just
thinking
started
about the
spinning.
possibilities.
yeah, exactly. Like Zobrist to me exemplifies a great small ball hitter. He could do what you need him to do, and that's not the direction that the Cubs are looking to go into. So it's just kind of interesting.
I'd like to disagree with that, but
Well, according to
There's-
Theo,
there's-
that's
well, and that's
for me.
we got to get
let's-
into this next
Let's
week.
talk about
that
this
has-
next week. Yes,
yeah, because
when it applies to the playoffs, things get a little dicey there. But
so
we'll definitely dig more into that next week, and we can really chomp on that one because there's a lot that goes into that. So
yep, for sure. Well,
and we can actually apply that to youth baseball too. I mean,
without a doubt.
even though youth players
Some of the
aren't
things
going,
we're not talking about,
right, they're
we
not
won't
going
get into,
after
but
big ball, but there's elements of that can apply. So
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So,
Absolutely. Okay. So
well, I think
yeah, we haven't picked out our charity yet. We need to get on that.
We do,
We'll
sorry.
probably start November. Just
that's a good.
we'll get something going.
Yeah, I know November's mental awareness.
Well,
health
and
awareness.
this
month
is breast cancer
or
awareness,
October
which we
is.
really need to do because I just ordered. Speaking of, I just ordered a shirt off Baseballism. Baseballism has the Rally Ribbon Initiative now for breast cancer
Breast
awareness.
cancer. I don't
So-
like that one that much.
No, it's
The black and I don't know, that black and yellow looked nice.
yeah, it did.
And I thought it went for a better cause than what. That's awful to say.
Yeah.
That's not what I mean, but
No.
you know,
it's more of an appropriate cause for this
right.
podcast.
That's
but,
that's exactly what I meant. That's exactly what I meant. Thank you, because I just fumbled over and just completely stuck my foot in my mouth.
Just lost all.
I
the
lost
women
everybody.
audience.
I care. I do care. Thanks for listening. Thanks, Shabu.
later, guys. Thanks.
Later.
Thanks.